So let's talk about Revolution. The Beatles song recorded during the White Album sessions. It was a revolution in more ways than one, right?
You got that right, Steve. 3 different versions of that song were recorded, and I guess 3 different political stances from John Lennon.
So that's what we're digging into, how one song managed to, make the far left furious, confuse the far right.
And almost set a recording studio on fire.
Exactly. While at the same time, it basically invents a new sound that inspires punk rock. This is all about John Lennon's huge internal conflict in 1968.
Okay, so let's set the stage, because the context here, 1968, it's everything. Lennon is supposed to be in Rishikesh, meditating.
Right, finding peace.
But the news he's getting from back home is just chaotic. The world is, one source literally said it was on fire.
You had the Vietnam protests going into overdrive.
Massive protests. Violent clashes at the American embassy in London, the Prague Spring, huge student uprisings in France.
And that's where they were waving Mao's little red book.
Right, exactly. So Lennon, who's this, global icon, he feels like he has to say something. He can't just be silent.
But he's also coming from this place of transcendental meditation.
Right, which was all about pacifism. That's where you get that line, it's going to be all right. It's a little naive, maybe, but it's sincere.
And Yoko Ono's influence is pushing him more towards what, social and sexual politics instead of
the violent, hardline Maoist stuff. So the song is asking this huge question. We all want change, but if it involves violence, where do you stand? And his first answer was basically count me out.
And this all started from a single huge piece of music.
Yeah, the original recording was this sprawling 10-minute jam session. Lennon just chopped it up later,
creating 2 of the 3 versions we know.
So we should probably clarify those 3 versions for everyone listening, because the differences are really the whole story.
Okay, let's do it.
First, you have Revolution 1. That's the slow, kind of bluesy one on the album.
The philosophical one.
Exactly. That's where he's still a bit uncertain. Then you have Revolution 9.
The weird one.
The very weird one. The 8-minute sound collage. That's the nightmare version. And then finally, the one everyone knows.
The single, Revolution. Fast, hard, and to the point.
The press release version. Short, sharp, and decisive.
Okay, so if Revolution 1, the slow one, was recorded first, why did they just release that? That was his statement.
He wanted to. He pushed for it to be the single immediately. But he ran into Paul McCartney and George Harrison.
The pragmatists.
The pragmatists. They apparently just shut it down, said it was too slow, too controversial for a single. They needed a hit.
Which is so ironic, because that pushback led to something way, way more radical, at least musically.
It really did. His compromise was, okay, we'll remake it, but we'll do it faster and a lot louder.
And that's where we get this proto-metal sound, that and Helter Skelter.
The whole sound of that single is it's an act of aggression. It's as aggressive as the protests he was seeing.
Let's talk about that sound. The riff I heard might have been borrowed.
Yeah, there's a theory it's from a Pee Wee Crayton song, Do Unto Others. And Lennon's playing it on a hollow body Gibson. But the real story is that machine gun fuzz guitar.
That's Jeff Emmerich, the engineer.
And that's him basically going rogue in the studio.
Yeah.
It's the sound of a mixing console pushed to its breaking point.
What did he actually do? It wasn't a pedal, was it?
No. Nothing like it. He ran the guitar signal directly into the mixing console. But here's the crazy part. He ran it through 2 microphone preamps, one after the other.
Chaining them together?
Yep. And just crank them both to the absolute max. He was pushing them so hard that the console wiring was on the verge of, overheating and maybe even catching fire.
Wow.
He was basically trying to get this industrial mechanical distortion.
Yeah.
He even joked later that if he'd been the studio manager, he would have fired himself for it.
And people listening at home had no idea what to make of it.
None at all. This is my favorite part of the story. Fans were returning their records to the shops, convinced they were defective.
They thought there was a scratch or something.
Yeah. Shop assistants had to keep explaining, no, we checked with EMI. It's supposed to sound like that.
Which just proves how ahead of its time it was, and that sound had a huge impact.
A massive legacy. Pete Shelley from the Buzzcocks, a key figure in punk, he said hearing that exact distortion was his eureka moment. That's when he decided to form a band.
That one riff kind of created a new language for sonic aggression.
Okay, so moving back to the politics of it all. Lennon loses the A-side. McCartney's Hey Jude gets it.
Of course.
But Revolution was still a huge B-side. It went to number 12 in the U.S., number 1 in Australia and New Zealand.
But that core pacifist message was still there, underneath all the noise.
Absolutely. Driven by his meditation, by Yoko's influence, he just didn't believe that you could build a better world by, burning the old one down.
And he took a direct shot at the student radicals.
The big one. The Chairman Mao line. But if you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow. Lennon said that was the most important line in the whole song.
A direct challenge.
He's basically telling them that this romantic idea of a cultural revolution was a dead end. He wanted to see their plan, which, to a radical in 1968, sounded incredibly conservative, almost square.
But here's where it gets complicated again, right? The two versions of the song say two different things.
This is the detail that got totally lost at the time. On the single, the fast one, he sings loud and clear, "Count me out."
It's definitive.
A line in the sand. But on Revolution 1, the album version that he recorded first, he sings "Count me out" in.
Out, in.
That one little word, in, has all this ambiguity. It suggests he's conflicted, maybe open to the idea.
And when the album came out months after the single, people got it backwards.
Completely. The Radicals heard the album version last and thought he was backtracking on his hardline single stance.
Yeah.
They saw his earlier indecision as him, come around to their side.
So in the end, he just made everyone angry.
Pretty much. Let's break down the backlash. The far left absolutely lost it.
What were they saying?
Oh, they called it a betrayal. A lamentable, petty, bourgeois cry of fear. They were furious he was asking for a plan instead of just, anarchy.
Meanwhile, the establishment loved it.
Right. Time magazine called it exhilarating hard rock and praised its message to cool it.
But even the far right was suspicious. They didn't buy it.
Nope. The John Birch Society warned that Lennon wasn't really against revolution. He was just telling the Maoists not to be so impatient. A Moscow line, they called it.
The song was a political Rorschach test. Everyone saw their own fears in it.
And Lennon tried to address this. If you watch the promo video, he's going for this really raw, authentic look.
This is when he stripped the paint off his Epiphone casino guitar.
Exactly. Shoulder-length hair, no stage makeup.
Ugh.
When the director suggested it, he just said, "Because I'm John Lennon." It was about deglamorized frankness.
And they premiered it on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour to get right to that counterculture audience.
But the criticism, especially from the radicals, really stung. There was a public open letter in the Black Dwarf magazine from a student named John Hoyland.
He didn't pull any punches.
He called the song no more revolutionary than a soap opera. And he told Lennon that to change the world, they had to destroy it ruthlessly.
Wow. And Lennon actually responded.
He did. He published a full-page reply that was syndicated internationally. He wasn't even arguing about the goal, just the method.
Yeah.
He said destructive revolutions just lead to new destructive rulers.
He brought up France and Russia.
He did. And he told Hoyland that if radicals like him took over, he and the Rolling Stones would probably be the first people they'd shoot.
What a line.
His closing line was incredible. You smash it, and I'll build around it.
A powerful defense. But then he completely changed his mind.
The political roller coaster. After he goes through primal scream therapy and starts hanging out with radicals like Jerry Rubin in New York, he does a total 180.
Around 1970, 1971.
Yep. He publicly says, "I made a mistake." It was anti-revolution. He felt he got it wrong.
And he writes Power to the People as like an apology.
Pretty much. He even regretted the Chairman Mao line, the one he'd been so proud of. For a couple of years there, he went full-on radical.
So he went from caution to radicalism, leaving everyone confused again.
For a while. But here's the final twist, or double twist, really.
Okay.
By 1972, and especially his last interview in 1980, he had abandoned that radical phase completely.
He went back.
All the way back. He called revolutionaries useless and reaffirmed the original message of the song. He still wanted to see the plan. He came full circle.
It's an incredible journey, but you could argue that history kind of proved his first instinct right.
Many historians do. Ian MacDonald wrote about this in the 90s, saying that things like Tiananmen Square and the fall of the Soviet Union showed Lennon's original caution was, well, it was justified.
And the final ultimate irony of this song about revolution has nothing to do with politics. It's about a pair of sneakers.
The Nike ad, 1987. It was just shocking at the time. The very first time a real Beatles recording was licensed for a TV ad.
How much did they pay for it?
Reportedly, $500,000 for 1 year. Yoko Ono signed off on it, said it would bring John's music to a new generation.
But the other Beatles were not happy.
Oh, they were furious. Paul, George, and Ringo filed a lawsuit. George Harrison had that great quote about how if this continued, every Beatles song would be advertising women's underwear and sausages.
And the irony is that the campaign actually worked.
It worked so well that TheStreet.com called it a key business moment because it helped to commodify dissent.
Wow.
The songs that questioned revolution became a tool to sell a brand. That's the deepest irony of all.
So in the end, revolution is this perfect storm of contradiction. It pioneers a sound people think is a mistake, and it captures this deep political divide about how to create change. A divide that's still with us.
Absolutely. It's Lennon at his most conflicted, but also maybe his most honest. It just refuses to give you an easy answer.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Whenever you feel like knowing more about the Beatles, visit us at BeatlesRewind.com. Every day, we do something new there. Song reviews, album reviews, movie reviews, documentaries, trivia, all things Beatles. Every day, 8 days a week. You can find us on the website, BeatlesRewind.com. You can subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Podcasts, practically anywhere on the inner tubes. The Beatles, all day, every day. Cass will do it again tomorrow.
Looking forward to it, Steve.